Right, here's a video walkthrough of task 1780, function 2. So you've got some function fx equals 4x squared plus 5. My first question was f of 12, so you notice the x has just been changed into a 12, so all I'm going to do in here is I'm going to change the x into a 12, and then I'm going to grab a calculator and just type that in. 4, 12 squared plus 5 equals 581. So the first one's 581. Next question is if x equals this thing, what's x? So f of x. So this is saying if 4x squared plus 5 equals 261, and you just got to solve the equation. So we take away the 5, so you get 4x squared equals 256 divided by 4. So divided by 4, so x squared equals 256 divided by 4, 64. And then you can square root and you get x equals 8. Okay, so just square rooting at the end. So it's a square root. Right, next one, f minus 1, so the inverse function. So first of all, we've got to figure out what the inverse function is. And the way we do that is we just write this equation out. So we say, hang on a minute, so y equals 4x squared plus 5. So we write like this, and then we just rearrange it to make x the subject. So I'm going to take away the 5, so I get y take away 5 equals 4x squared. Divide by 4, so y take away 5 divided by 4 equals x squared. And then square root, so x is equal to the square root of y take away 5 over 4. So we do that to find the inverse function. And then we say, okay, so the inverse function f minus 1, and all we do now is equal of x is equal to the square root. And we just change the y back to an x take away 5 over 4, and there's your inverse function. So now I'm just going to put that 149 in there, so f minus 1 of 149 is equal to the square root of 149 take away 5 over 4, so I'm just substituting the 149 in for the x. Grab a calculator, oops, hit the right button, square root of the fraction 149 take away 5 all over 4, and that apparently is 6. So we've got this question's equal to 6. And then the second one, I'm just going to stick 21 where the x is this time, is equal to the square root of 21 take 5 over 4, which is equal to square root of 21, delete, 21, take a 5 cylinders is going to be 2, isn't it? Yes, so it's going to be 2. And there's your answer to that one. Okay, so the trick that one was find this inverse function, and one way of doing it is just writing y equals this thing and then rearranging the equations to get the x being the subject of the formula, and then for the inverse function you just change that y back to an x, and that's your inverse function. Next question. So I've got this f minus 1 is x, so I'll find the inverse function. So I've got y equals 4 into x plus 2, and there's a number of ways we can do this. I normally just expand the brackets to start off with, so I would normally say y equals 4x plus 8, and then rearrange this bit, so take away the 8, so y take 8 equals 4x, and now divide by the 4, so normally I would write y take 8 over 4 equals x, and therefore the inverse function f minus 1 of x, just change that y back to an x, is x minus 8 over 4. Now the problem here is that this doesn't appear as one of my options, so the other way to write this one is just put this dividing by 4 on both of them, so you get equals x over 4 take away 8 over 4, which is x over 4 take away 2. So this is the option that I can pick. I can't pick this one, which is the one I personally prefer, but that's the one that I want you to get to. Next one I've got is the inverse function again, so I just let y equals 16x squared, so y divided by 16, just taking that 16 to the bottom, equals x squared, and then square rooting, so g of x, g minus 1 of x is equal to the square root of y over 16. Now you can actually square root 16, so that's just the square root of, oops, not x, not y, we change it to an x down, we change it back to an x over 4. Okay, so because I can square root 16. So that was from this bit, so x equals, I should have wrote that bit down, then I wouldn't have made that mistake, y over 16. So I would have done that. Last one, so we've got y equals x minus 8 over 3. So take the 3 over, so 3y equals x minus 8. Take 8 over, 3y plus 8 equals x. So the inverse function, h minus 1 of x, is just equal to 3x plus 8. There's your inverse, so you just change the y into an x, and that's your inverse function sorted. Then we go on to composite functions. So you're doing a function of a function. I've just lost the screen, so I can't see what I'm doing on the screen. And it's back. So first one, fairly straightforward, just put the 4 in there, so you get 3 fours are 12 plus 4 is 3 fours are 12 plus 4, oh, let's just write down 4 plus 3 lots of 4, that's all I'm doing. So that's going to be 16, isn't it? G of 4, this is a square root, just haven't finished the sign off. G of 4 is the square root of 4, that's going to be equal to square root of 4, which is equal to 2. So no big deal there. Then you get this one, right? And it's the way you read these that counts. So you read this as f of g of 4. F of g of 4. So you need to work out g of 4, first of all. G of 4 we know is 2. So this now is 2. So we've got equals f of 2, because g of 4 is 2. So f of 2 now, just put 2 in there. 3 2 is 6, plus that 4 equals 10. So it's the way you read it that counts. So this one says g of f of 4. So you need to work out f of 4 first. F of 4 we know from this one is 16. And now I want, so that's g of just 16. And g of 16 is the square root of 16, which is 4. Okay? So that's what that one's saying. F of 49, so that's just equal to 4 plus 3 lots of the 49. And that's a calculator job. 4 plus 3 lots of 49 is 151 apparently, equals 151. F of g of 49, so g of 49 is the square root of 49 is 7, so that's equal to f of 7, and f of 7 is 3 7s are 21, plus 4 is 25, so that one's going to be 25. This one, f of 49, well we know f of 49 is this thing, 151, so I want f of 151 now, which is equal to, and then you just get your calculator, go for that one, so that's 4 plus 3 lots of 151, so you just put, oops, what's that answer doing at the front, get rid of that bit, 4, there it is, 457 apparently. And then the last question is g of 81, well that's the question here, g of 81, so g of 81 is the square root of 81, the square root of 81 is 9, so that's equal to g of just this g of 9, and then the square root of 9 is going to be 3, so the answer to that one's 3. So it's the way you read it, you've got to f of that bit, so work out that bit and then do the f part of it. So that's how you do the composite functions. Then you've got the last questions, which are putting the things together. So you've got f of g of x, well that's f of, and g of x is 1 over x, so it's f of 1 over x. So that's equal to, and all I've got to do now is put this 1 over x in where x is there. So I've got 8 into 1 over x, take away 1, which is 8 over x, take away 1. So that's the first one. I can't remember. I've actually put these on the computer just to double check that I knew what I'm talking about, so I'm just going to click off my screen, you won't be able to see it. Yeah, and it gives me, that's one of the options I can have. And then the last one is g of f of x, so that's g of, and f of x is 8x take away 1. So now I take the formula for g, and where the x is, I put this 8x take away 1. So that's equal to 1 over 8x take away 1. And that's it for composite functions. Okay. Hope that helps. Good luck.